Hey everyone, Kevin Lewis here with Home Life Benchmark Titus Realty, and it's time for your July 2021 Fraser Valley Real Estate Update. Stats are in for June 2021, and for the first time since the last 10 months, we've had our first non-record breaking month. So why did this happen? Does this mean the market's slowing right down? Is we going to see prices drop anytime soon? Well, stay tuned and we'll find out together whether that's going to happen. Quick spoiler alert, no, I don't think they're going to see anything change drastically that way. Realistically, when the market slows down, you got to keep in mind what we're slowing down from. A little bit slower than 200 kilometers an hour is still pretty darn fast, and that's about where we are in today's market now. Despite the fact that June 2021 was the first month in 9 months in a row, or 10 months in a row, that we did not break a sales record, again, that doesn't mean that things have slowed down necessarily, as we did come in 22% above the 10-year average for the month of June. So we're still outperforming what has always been a relatively strong month in the history of real estate, and we're still coming in with numbers that definitely go above the 10-year average, which to me would tell me that we're still in a market that's pretty darn hot. One huge aspect of the market that has definitely changed in the last couple of months is the feel of the market, and things just feel a little less chaotic than they did back in March and April, despite the fact that prices are still increasing at a much lower rate than they were a couple months ago, of course, but they are still going up, and homes are still selling quite quickly, and we still have an inventory problem where we just don't have enough homes for sale. What has happened is realtors, buyers, and sellers alike have all acclimatized themselves to the new market, and what was once considered chaotic is pretty much the new norm for the short term, despite the fact that I do believe things will come back to more traditional norms in the following years. But we've come back to a more normal feeling in the market as everybody's adapted and become more used to the pace of the market. We're starting to see far more homes with accepted offers with subjects as opposed to subject-free offers than we had seen in the past couple of months. Of course, as I just mentioned, one of the key reasons why prices went up as quick as they did, and we saw the chaos that we saw in the last few months, was we just simply did not have enough listings to sustain the number of buyers that we had interested in purchasing homes. I do believe that a lot of this is going to change as the restrictions for the pandemic and everything begin to ease, and more of us get our second vaccine shots, and we get more vaccinations across the board, and life begins to return to normal. I think a lot of those sellers who are hesitant for safety purposes, which is, I'm certainly not faulting anybody if you had waited for the pandemic to be over, but I do think we are going to see another influx of sellers come onto the market in the fall once everybody's done relaxing in the summer, which is pretty typical for summers to be a little bit slower than the fall market. So I do think once we get to that fall market, as we get more and more vaccines and life begins to get more and more normal, we will probably see this fall a little bit of a flip-flop in the market as far as the inventory levels. Now, I use the term flip-flop very loosely because I'm not saying we're switching to a buyer's market. I don't even predict that we're going to be in a balanced market. I think it will remain a seller's market right through to spring 2022. However, it'll be a less intense of a seller's market. And I do believe that buyers will have more time to pick and choose homes and have more homes to choose from, which in reality is likely better for everybody across the board because most people who are selling are still going to be purchasing a home as well. Now all of that is going to be contrary to what happens in the next couple of months, or the last few months of summer here, the last half of July and August. If we continue to see lower listings here, we could see prices continue to rise up a little bit over the next couple of months, which may shift into the fall depending on how quickly more homes come onto the market, if they do at all. And I do think that we will see prices take a small jump in the next couple of months, but it'll be almost a negligible jump depending on what your next move is. If you're selling and buying again, it becomes a bit of an irrelevant jump. So I wouldn't say there's necessarily any reason to rush into things. If you are looking to buy without selling anything, sooner may be better for that. However, if we do see a more influx of listings coming in the fall, it may pay off to wait as well, as there would just be that much more options to choose from, which more options and more inventory means a little bit less competition on each property that you're looking at purchasing, and there's a better chance that you don't have to go to multiple offers and bid the price of the home above the current market value. Now, I mentioned current market value as opposed to selling above or below the asking price because this is a key thing that I touch on quite a bit, but I can't repeat it enough times because if you haven't heard it before, it is very important in the world of real estate. Asking price is not a good indicator of the property's value or what your neighbors are asking for the sale of their home versus what down the street is asking. It's all irrelevant. What really truly matters when we're coming up with the value is what a home is worth, is what other buyers are willing to pay for it and what sellers are willing to let it go, which makes the sold price that much more important than the asking price. There's nothing stopping me from listing a house that's worth $1 million, and we could list it at $400,000 or we could list it at $4 million. Realistically, we're not going to get a lot of action either way, and that's why most homes are priced within the reason of their market value. But at the end of the day, there's a very good chance if you list it for $400,000, home's worth $1 million, you'll probably end up selling around that $1 million mark. Now, that's a pretty extreme example, of course, and I would never recommend any sort of strategy like that, but it just goes to show how unimportant the asking price is for gauging the value of a home and gauging what's happening in a market. As when prices go up, that's when it's important to look at the mass of everything. If everything's selling above asking price, that is a pretty good indication that prices are on their way up. Where we are right now, where we're starting to see homes sell below the asking price and we're starting to see price reductions, it's not necessarily directly related that prices are coming down. All that it is a lot of sellers have predicted the continued increase in prices, whereas we've seen stabilization instead of things going up. A house would have been priced at this point, we're right here, and the person's priced the house here, assuming that that curve is going to continue to rise. However, it hasn't continued to rise, so the value of their home at the time of listing would have been lower than their asking price, and they'll probably sell lower than the asking price, but they'll sell at the same price that similar homes in the past couple of months have sold for, as the market value is far more based on sold properties than active properties. So as we start to see price reductions on the market, or we see things selling more and more below the asking price, it's not an indication that prices are coming down. And I just want to make that very clear to everybody. We're not sitting here waiting for the prices to drop in order to get a great deal on a property. Overall, I still think it's a great time whether you're looking to buy or looking to sell, and of course one shoe doesn't fit all, and your situation is going to be unique to you. So if you are thinking of making a move in the near future, be sure to give me a call, leave a comment down below, send me a text message, send me an email, whatever way you want to get in touch. It's never too early to start planning your next move, whether you're 2-3 years out even. Let me come by, we'll have a look, we can make some suggestions on renovations if you're going to be selling. If you're going to be buying, we can start looking at some saving strategies and start getting a feel for the market and getting an idea of the type of home that you might want to buy. Once again, don't hesitate to get in touch. I can't wait to hear from you guys, and thanks for tuning in.